Hello everyone and welcome to the Vortex, where lies and falsehoods are trapped and exposed. I'm Michael Voris. There's no doubt about it, a reform movement has been launched in the church and it's being spearheaded by Pope Benedict. Considering the great mess that needs cleaning up, this may go down as one of the great reforms. It appears to be a multi-pronged effort as well. There's the cleaning up of the homosexual pederasty problem. There's the cleaning up of liturgical abuse insanity. And there's the reaching out to the disaffected allies of the church who are cut off from communion with the See of Peter. There is, first of all, the Society of St. Pius X, called SSPX for short. They've been an open break with the church for a number of years in reaction to the abuses they have witnessed in the Mass. Their one-time leader and founder, Archbishop Marcel Lefebvre, made 4 bishops in 1988 who have carried on the break since his death. The whole lot was excommunicated shortly thereafter. Last June, however, Benedict lifted the excommunications and initiated formal talks with the group about coming back into the church. You might remember this story in the press because one of those 4 bishops denied the Holocaust. The media had a field day with that bit of news, but as usual, they missed the larger point. The SSPXers have a long list of complaints, but if one were to sum it up, it would be that they see the church as having broken from the past following Vatican II and instituted some sort of new theology. This theology, they believe, is elevated and promoted through the new Mass, which they see as an abomination and a danger to people's souls because of its lack of reverence and lack of clear teaching of authentic Catholic truth. As you look around many parishes in the U.S. and Europe today, you can kind of see what they're talking about. But it's not Vatican II that was the problem. It's the progressives and the spirit of Vatican II crowd that went wild, promoting changes that Vatican II never really authorized. So now, Benedict, very sensitive to their concerns about abuses in the liturgy, has opened up talks aimed at a reunion of some sort once their doctrinal disputes are cleared up. The point? Benedict is trying to reestablish the harmony and unity of the church that is sorely lacking, largely owing to the efforts of progressives who have worked very hard to undo the church's unity. Moving on to a second group for which Benedict also took a pasting in the secular media, the move to open a way back to Rome for disaffected Anglicans who are fed up with their communion's tolerance and promotion of homosexuality and women clergy. The Pope was accused of poaching for converts and taking advantage of the woes which have beset the left-leaning Anglicans. Au contraire, the Pope, as the fisher of men, is fulfilling his sacred obligation to bring as many people as he can into the fold. His duty is to preserve the continuity of the faith and preach that faith, that salvation, to anyone and everyone who will give it a willing ear, including Anglicans ticked off at their own bishops. What is clear is this: the reform that Benedict has begun is gaining steam. He's begun a reform in the seminaries to root out the homosexual subculture so prevalent for so long. He's initiated a long overdue investigation into women religious orders, many of whom have long since abandoned the faith in favor of New Age practices and witchcraft. Even before he became Pope, he began addressing the sex abuse scandal and recently has begun major moves against bishops who are involved with the promise of more to come. Heads will roll before this is finally over. He's clearly laid out his understanding that Western man is doomed without a return to God, most especially Europe. He said this plainly in his speech at Regensburg. He has begun what many call the reform of the reform, an effort to slowly and eventually eliminate the sacrileges and affronting abuses that have plagued the Mass for decades now because of the liberal and progressive crowd. And he is reaching out to the wounded, both Catholics and those close to the Catholic Church, to invite them to return home. He has made great strides with the Eastern Orthodox in calling for reunification. Benedict has set in motion the apparatus for monumental change in the church, a purification that many have long hoped for. This change will challenge every Catholic to rethink their commitment to our Lord and His church. Some will undoubtedly and sadly find the challenge too great and they will leave. Others will remain in or come to a church that will have been purified and be ready to press boldly into the third millennium of Christianity. Be sure you are on the right side of this reform. I'm Michael Voris.
Please help us keep delivering these kinds of messages that so desperately need to be heard and acted on. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber. Become immersed in the faith established by Jesus Christ. The Catholic Church is the only hope against evil because that is its God-given mission. As our Lord said, apart from me, you can do nothing. Join RealCatholicTV.com today as a premium subscriber and come to learn and love Christ more deeply.